Alright. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Rain World. Finally returning to this. I mean, I was already playing Rivulet consistently, but, you know, I will be returning completely next week. I think I'll be running Spearmaster again, but that'll be later. For now, am I even on the right save file? I think so. Yes. Let me know if the audio is good, game sound and music and everything. Many of your viewers are insane, take no liability. Thanks for the raid, by the way. I did notice that you were streaming right before I started. So hello everyone. I think I'm just gonna try to do full runs. These are practice runs, so no creatures enabled. Realize I forgot to do something. Just a second. As long as I don't slow down, the time will still be good. Okay, don't fall down there. I have some plans for Rain World. I think I want to try out those challenges that I've been talking about for a while. And so basically, I'll still be doing speedruns, mainly Spearmaster until that's done. But also in between some speedrun attempts, I'll be doing some challenges too. And I think I'm trying to think of what order that I want to do them in, because there's a big list of like challenges on the Discord server, and they are ranked in a few different ways. And one of those ways is difficulty, which is ranked by player votes. So when you complete a challenge, you can like vote for how difficult it is, and then those are all added up. But there's some challenges that are rated as quite difficult, but are quite easy because of my skill set. So, maybe they won't line up perfectly, but maybe, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, though. If you look in the Rain World Discord, you can see the challenges and how they're all, like, listed. And that does include the Downpour challenges, too. Although there's a lot more challenges just for base Rain World. That doesn't include the DLC. That was too high. That was too high too. Okay, I guess I need to go a little bit lower than I think. Okay, I'm throwing. Oh, I should have the speedrun timer fixed on. I don't have that enabled. Eating the mug too. I wouldn't recommend that. Never seen this region? This is actually just Chimney Canopy. But it's a new sub-region added in Downpour. The gutter. It's basically a little shortcut from drainage up into chimney, but it has quite a high karma requirement. That was interesting. Oh, that was a very late jump. I almost didn't make it. That was smooth. Okay. These bat flies are being annoying. I did have a rock though, so I shouldn't have thrown that away. I do wonder. I've been doing these Rivulet runs. That's close. I've been doing these Rivulet runs once every week, but I wonder if that's like frequent enough for me to actually make any improvements. Like, if by the time I do another run 1 week later, I'll have lost the skill improvement from previous practice. I think the music is a bit quiet. I don't know if you can actually hear it very well. How long is the average Rivulet run? Oh, that was way too far. I don't know what I did there, but that didn't line up properly. The world record is about 27 minutes. So that is the goal. Usually it's pretty reasonable to get under 30 minutes as long as you don't die. But like a handful of minutes can be quite difficult to get, depending on some like movement or some RNG. There's some RNG in Pebbles region, which can make the run more difficult, or more inconsistent. Like if you get bad cycles with the gravity turning on and off, you can lose a lot of time that is just out of your control. And if there's DLLs that are in your way in really bad spots, that can lose you a lot of time too. That's interesting movement. No. Oh. Actually, just throwing a rock at them does work. That was weird. I did something different there. Oh, I did the jump just a little bit too late there. Terraria magic carpet effect. That is actually an interesting idea for a movement ability. It's kind of like the bee cat. They have a hover too. but it's actually quite slow horizontally. But then I guess like a magic carpet would be faster horizontally, but then it wouldn't have like a very long duration, so you wouldn't be able to go for that long. That's a fun idea. I didn't even pick up the neuron. You're supposed to grab the neuron there, but I think I'll be able to get another one. I think you actually want to delay that swim boost, and it makes it more consistent. I'm not finding another neuron. That's a little bit concerning. Hello? I almost was able to grab that one. So I think I'm gonna have to wait for this cycle. Yes. Doesn't really matter how fast I went there. Do you need a neuron? No, but I mean, okay, it's kind of unnecessary. The amount of food that you need, it does line up. Whoa. Like, we actually need the food from the neurons to shelter, but you could just eat a batfly from the previous region, and that would also give you enough food. So it's not completely necessary. But you might as well also get it from a neuron, because you might have to wait around for the gravity to change anyway. It just gives you an opportunity to eat. And then the glow lets you have an easier time, or it lets you see in some darker rooms, and that just makes the movement a lot easier. Nice. New strat, do a backflip there. Yeah, you need the food, and the light is also a nice addition. But it's not like necessary. But if you have the option between eating like a batfly and a neuron, I forgot the gravity cycle. If you have the option between the two, you might as well take the neuron, you know? Speaking of echoes, echo music. So the gravity cycle does not line up here. The cell should be on when I entered this room. Rivulet gets a concussion and falls asleep. Also, the neuron light makes it a lot easier to see yourself when you're underwater. So the underwater sections in the Rot, as well as the underwater sections in Submerged Superstructure and Shoreline, they're just easier if you can actually see where you are. Nice, that almost lined up very well. I think I might have seen, I don't know if I'm just making this up, I might have seen a mod on the workshop that is, or no, it was actually potential content for like a future update to the DLC. Basically the developers, the original developers of the game had an idea. I might be making all this up, by the way, but apparently the original developers of the game had an idea for a campaign, for an extra campaign. It was like Nightcat, maybe, who would be friends with the scavengers. And they had an idea for expanding an area in garbage waste to make it kind of into what Metropolis is now. I think I might have thought that was like a modded idea. But it's interesting that they had an idea for a more scavenger-centric character, which is what I've been asking for this whole time. But whoops, I made a mistake there. But it sucks that all the DLC characters are either neutral or aggressive to scavengers, and there's no campaigns that just go along with them, you know? Like, I feel like that's the natural idea, you know, you got Hunter, even in the base game, you know, Hunter is negative rep with scavengers, and then you have Artie, which is like obviously the one that fights against the scavengers. Like, why not have a character that's the opposite of that? I feel like that's the obvious thing to do. Also, that maybe the Yeek fix will be made into... I guess this is like... Okay, I should probably cover this more thoroughly. So, because apparently there's going to be an update for Downpour or Rain World in general soon-ish. I think there was like an update on like Rain World's like Steam, like a Steam beta or something like that. So they might be testing out like a new update or something. So that's exciting. I'll definitely stream that. Whatever is added that isn't, unless it's just like a bunch of quality of life. But I'll still be playing Rain World, of course. But the Yeek fix is actually very relevant to speedruns that use the Yeek. I don't want to do wall pants. Really. Saint uses the Yeek. Gourmand uses the Yeek. So both of those speedruns would be affected by the changes to them. In we'll see how that goes. If it makes them easier, because they are very inconsistent already, so they could definitely be improved. Yeeks could definitely be improved and made more reliable, but they could also be made a lot more inconsistent and harder to control. I think that I have tested the Yeek mod, the Yeek fix mod, and it did make them a little bit like uncontrollable. Like they like to do things when you're not trying to control them to do that. Like they'll just kind of like, even when you're holding them in place and not moving at all, they will try to like jump and force you to jump every once in a while. I really need better movement for this entire area, honestly. Yeah, I thought that Spearmaster would be friendly with the scavengers, because they can make them free spears. I'm not supposed to activate the cell here. You know what, I'm redoing this entire thing. I don't really have a good way to do this. I guess that's the best I have. So I just need to pretend the water is a pole and do a pole hop. See? That worked out. Rivulet is cheating. Just all the time. They're way too good. Okay, really bad movement here, but that's actually kind of fine. That isn't fine though, that's just bad. Oh, so this is kind of the right music, right? Is this the right song? Nice. You know, I think Inv being on their own is totally fine. Doesn't need to be more of them. Like, one is already too much. Okay, I think that was just bad spacing. Hello, welcome to the stream. It doesn't work in that spot for some reason. Nice. Okay, don't swim backwards. Would not recommend it. This good pace. This is a practice run. And also for a practice run, it is bad pace because I redid a room like 5 times. I noticed that I was lined up very well, so I just kind of went for it. I actually did that so fast that the cell wasn't even back on when I wanted it, or when I expected it to be back. I have a feeling that some portion of the Rivulet community doesn't understand the kind of, how do I say this? The Rivulet is a pretty serious game. And, you know, if you want to do your own thing in your own little community and just, like, mess around and have fun, whatever. But, you know, the feeling of Rivulet when playing the game is that you are a wild animal trying to survive and running away from, like, predators, and, like, that's what the game is. And like, that's, like, the reason that I don't like Inge, because they totally don't care about any of that. And I understand that it's just, like, not, like, an official part of the game. You know, it is just kind of this little hidden Easter egg thing on the side. But also, you know, the community is a big fan of Inv. Or maybe I'm overestimating how much people like that character. But I think they're definitely popular. But that env is not the basis on which to expand the game. The Survivor is. I think Survivor should always be the template, you know. I think that even some of the DLC characters kind of stray away from it too. Like the fact that Spearmaster focuses so much on iterator dialogue. Like, Rivulet is like a not very dialogue heavy game. You only get a tiny little bit of that. Okay, this is not good. When you're playing the game normally, all the dialogue that you get is from meeting Pebbles and Moon and the Echoes. And it's only like a handful of lines of dialogue, and Moon has the most dialogue if you bring a bunch of pearls to her, which takes forever. So the dialogue is quite spaced out, you know. For Spearmaster, there's like, I mean, depending on how many like broadcasts you find, but there's like always this conversation going on. You can talk to the iterators like many different times with multiple different like lines of dialogue. Like you can go to Moon first, talk to her, and then go to Pebbles, and then go back to Moon, and then go to the end of the game, and that's like 4 different places where there's a bunch of dialogue, right? I think that's something that's kind of nice about Rainworld, is that there's so little dialogue, you're like in the dark so much, so that when you do get dialogue, it's a special occurrence, you know. Like you don't get to actually hear someone talk about the world that often, and even when you do, they don't really go in detail too much unless you really get into the Pearl dialogue. But because it is so sparse, it is like a special thing. So that's part of what the DLC kind of messes up a little bit. Like there's too much dialogue, too much of the characters and iterators talking to each other and just kind of seeming like normal characters instead of these like godlike entities that are like very distant from the struggles of a slug cat. And then that's like the next part of it, where these slug cats are supposed to just feel like random animals, just like some prey, you know, at the bottom of the food chain. You're just trying to survive. So then why do these slug cats have such an impact on the story and these iterators, you know? Like Rivulet and Saint and Spearmaster and Hunter are all, I mean, I guess Hunter wasn't Downpour DLC, but all those characters have like such a big impact on the iterators themselves. It's like, why? Like, isn't this goes against the entire point of the game, that you are this like small insignificant creature just trying to survive in the wild? But then, you know, you also go and you like be a hero when you save this like, massive supercomputer from, I don't know, whatever. The game crashed, so that's cool. Gotta get one out of the way first. Yeah, the jetfish are just kind of rude. That's just how they are. Crash percent. I wonder if you wanted to crash the game, what would the best way to do it is? What would that be? The only explanation I have for why the dialogue is the way it is for Spearmaster's campaign is that the part of the... You basically, like, imagine... I imagine that the iterators are made up of many different components that are all working together in different ways. And so, let's say 99% of the structure is dedicated towards the great problem. And so, like, a vast majority of the computing is just working towards this problem. And that leaves 1% to do everything else. And maybe some proportion of that 1% is to control the puppets and to, like, talk to people and to convey messages. Or maybe part of it is to, like, control overseers, make them, like, watch around or to listen to what they have to say. And then a tiny little fraction of that 1% is just for casual conversations in the Discord servers. I feel like that has to be like the explanation for why they are the way they are. A tiny fraction of 1% of their total computing power is going into just hanging out and talking to each other because they're bored. Whereas the rest of the structure is actually focusing on, like, well, not important problems, but, you know, iterator problems. if they are very important, you know. That was pretty good. Hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Gourmand. I mean, Gourmand is actually. I do enjoy Gourmand's like story, I guess. the idea, like, it basically is just the opposite of what the ancients believe in. That you need to, you know, all their beliefs in generals, and like trying to ascend and escape the mortal world, right? And Gourmand is like, nah, I'm just gonna hang out and eat food, and like have a family, you know. And yeah, that does work for the original message of Rain World, that you are just some animal. I mean, Gourmand is like kind of special in their abilities and their role in Soycat society, but they're still just an animal that just likes to eat food, and that's it. That's the most complexity there is in Gourmand's story. And I guess Artificer is kind of similar, where it is just focused on a single Soycat story, but Artificer, I feel like Artificer is like very, very human. They have a very human story of like tragedy and revenge. It's like you're just like a slug, dude. Like you have such a strong motivation for being an animal. I guess like Soycats are probably quite intelligent. And well, we know that they're quite intelligent. Thanks for roll. And also their, you know, Artificer's whole goal is very simple. The scavengers killed your kids and now you're mad. That's basically it. More calming threat themes. I had the theme of a massive sea creature about to devour you, or a bird coming in from the sky to swoop you out of the water. Throwing. These jumps aren't difficult, but if you mess up a single one, then it kind of messes with the whole process. Terrifying creatures beyond my... Oh, I did have turn storage. I was distracted. Maybe I am ignorant. Maybe I am just simply unaware of what is out there. But I feel like of like the eldritch horror genre stuff that I've seen, it is like kind of disappointing. Like you could go so much further. Like I'm kind of comprehending this stuff, you know? Isn't that like not the you're kind of failing the whole point of this, right? Also, you're supposed to do a backflip there. Yeah, Cthulhu, he's just like some dude, you know? Like, whatever, man. You're not that special. Oops. Okay, jump a little bit later there. I could probably do a wall jump right there. totally just forgot to do jump. Your man-made horrors are easy to comprehend. Turn surge there is really bad. It's kind of hard to avoid. And I'm throwing. Want to cut that extended slide a little bit short so they don't jump into the top pipe. Rivulet is so powerful, they can jump off of the ground without even touching the ground. No. I hate when they grab onto you. I wonder if an EA hop would work there. I don't know if I've tried that. Another shaded song. Items aren't really too important right now. bad cycle again. You want gravity to be normal when you first enter. When I always enter this room with the wrong gravity. I guess that was actually kind of fast anyway. Okay, this room. He's actually hitting that wall bounce and die. If you miss that wall bounce, you just die. And that one I just messed up a bunch. The cursor's on the screen. That was unfortunate. I was right there, just floating. I need to go fast. Shoot. Okay, massive mistake. That just is a lot of time for no reason. It's cool. That isn't a difficult jump either, but I think trying to rush it made it more difficult. Which is actually kind of a common thing in this game. When you try to go fast, you end up messing up and going way slower. And that's not unique to the Rain World. It's kind of how it is all the time. You just swim boost or tunnel boost out of that and then hold down and you end up going into the pipe. That was really bad. Very fast underwater creature. Cannot be contained. No, it's been so long since I've done that so silly that I couldn't even jump up there. That's unfortunate. Okay, that whole segment was kind of just bad. Oh, we're in chimney. I'm on the wall now? Really? Doesn't look like the wall. You know, okay. I hope some people here have played Cave Story before. But there are some similarities between this game and Cave Story. Particularly or specifically, huh? They both have a segment of the game where you climb a wall. And I kind of want to do something with that. It's very good. You should play it. It's free. You can just go download it, I think. You can find it somewhere. But the music that plays on the wall in Cave Story, I think it's called The Outer Wall. The music that plays there is like one of my favorite video game songs just ever. And it's called Moon Song. So it kind of fits in Rain World too, right? I think it is on the Switch. Moon Song, yes. Wow. Nice fast fall, dude. Got a theory. They're the same thing. That's the jump boost. So kind of spamming jump like that is actually kind of bad. I think the lightning or the thunder sound that just played is the same sound that plays in the main menu. It sounds familiar. Unless I'm just crazy. Or it's just like generic thunder sound effect number 3, but you know. It sounds very similar. The problem though, okay, so the idea that I had was basically just climbing up the wall and just having Moonsong play over it. Like, oh wow, this is the part of Rain World, but it has Cave Story music. But then change it to nighttime because the outer wall in Cave Story is like kind of dark, like it's like a night sky outside. And I tried using expedition mode with the blinded burden, but it ended up being too dark. You like can't even see anything at all. So I was thinking of maybe using a mod to change the color palettes to make it fit the outer wall better. But I didn't really continue with that too far. Okay, it actually worked that time. Pitch black mod? No, that's the opposite of what I'm looking for. It needs to be dark, but not like you can't see anything. And then maybe to fit with Cave Story even more, I could give the Slow Cat a gun. Actually, that'd be a cool idea for a mod. I mean, I know you have your whole idea with a slughead with a gun, but this would be like Cave Story's system specifically, which the way it works in Cave Story is that each weapon has a level up to level 3. And when you defeat enemies, they drop XP. And so you collect XP to level up the weapon, but if you take damage, then you lose XP. So the way it could work in Rain World is, instead of like damage and XP and stuff, well, maybe the enemies wouldn't drop XP, but your gun levels up when you kill things. And then, if you take damage, then you lose 1 level of your gun. And if you take damage on level 1, then you just die. So you basically have like 3 extra hit points. It's a little bit positive feedback loop, because if you have a max level gun, you're less likely to take damage, you know? So you're gonna be doing just fine for most of the game, but then you take damage and then it starts like snowballing downhill, you know? And the starter gun in Cave Story, the Polar Star, is that what it's called? It's actually quite weak, so it's not like it's overpowered or anything. It's very short range, and it doesn't do too much damage. So in Rain World, maybe it would do like, maybe like oh, that was a plunk. Maybe the max level, like level 3 gun would do like half the damage of a spear, which is like pretty strong, you know. But then the tier 2 would do like the quarter of that damage, and then tier 1 would do an 1/8 of that damage. So until you get level 3, you're actually quite weak. Don't understand. What don't you understand? This idea that I have? Shoot. Oops, that's not good. At least you can save it. All down there. And also the way the gun works is quite limited. It's not like you can like aim it and fire wherever you want. You can only shoot horizontally. So it's kind of the way that you can throw spears already. Maybe you'd have to do backflips to shoot up or down. That'd actually be pretty cool. So it basically would just function like a spear throw. Whoa, big jump. That never happens. Despite how much I try. That was not a plank. That was just a jump out of the water. But those are so inconsistent. The amount of height that you get is very random. And most of the time it's not very good. But if everything lines up perfectly, then you get a ton of height from a jump like that. Hello. Welcome to the stream. That's a funny emote. I really like that one. The best lizard. Actually, what was the best lizard? Which one did I rank the highest? It might have been the strawberry lizard. Blizzard lizard emote. Oh man, that's okay. I've kind of wanted to I've mentioned this before that I want to focus on one streaming platform, because it's kind of strange to have streams split into two different on two different platforms, right? Because there's some viewers on one side that don't get to interact with viewers on the other side. And if I focus on Twitch, I could get partnered or affiliated Twitch. Okay, I don't really know what it's called, but it's very easy to get. I would probably qualify. But you get emotes, and I would not know what to do with emotes. Because I don't personally like emotes slash emojis slash like all of that stuff. I don't use them ever. So like if I were to make like my own for the stream, I would not know what to do. Strawberry lizard was highest. I don't remember the last time that I actually interacted with a strawberry lizard. You don't see them in the Saint speedrun, like, ever. And I guess it's fine, right? That's kind of what makes them special, that they are unique to only one campaign. Please. Also, if I were to just be on Twitch, I would need to have a system of preserving the VODs. YouTube just automatically saves VODs, which is like very convenient and part of why I'm streaming on YouTube. Just all of the streams are just there. You can just go watch them if you want. But on Twitch, they disappear after like 2 months or something like that. And so you need to actively like go and like most likely I think just download the entire stream and then upload it. See, it only crashes once. And then once it crashes, like, it kind of gets it out of its system, you know? And I can just play without worrying about it in the future. Hello. Welcome to the stream. You think that you figured out some movements, but then you still mess it up anyway. Also, like, in general, the Rainworld community does also stream on Twitch. There's a lot of other Rainworld speedrunners that stream on Twitch. I don't know if that, like, means much. But like as for Raid World speedrunners and Raid World streamers in general, I'm kind of on this little island alone on YouTube. There's not too many others who stream regularly. Yeah, I definitely do know there's viewers who don't use Twitch at all. And so if you would want to continue to follow the stream, like let's say that I do move to Twitch completely, and you were only viewed on YouTube and you only like do anything on YouTube, like you never go to Twitch at all. Okay, I definitely don't do that. But you may not want to like deal with Twitch just to watch a single streamer, you know? Like if you already watch Twitch streams, then like just add one to the list, you know. Oh gosh, I'm usually good at the swim. I did die on this run. Hello, moon. I've also noticed times where someone who streams on YouTube decides to switch to Twitch, and then most of their viewers don't even realize that they are still streaming, and they assume that they just stopped streaming completely. I think the death was like right next to the shelter anyway, so we didn't really lose too much time. But you'll see like comments on their channel like, is this person still stream? Where'd they go? What are they doing? And it's like, oh yeah, they stream on Twitch like every week. And they just didn't know about it. I mean, some people definitely put more effort into like advertising their Twitch stream. Like, maybe they'll make videos out of the streams and then say, if you want to watch live, you know, go to this link or whatever. I had a rock, but you're not supposed to have a rock there. Yeah, I don't make any actual videos, that's true. I should be making videos. You know, part of why I don't know if I'll actually do this, but an idea that I had for the Ministry streams was to kind of use it as a test for making videos. Because, you know, there were a lot of ideas that I had for like streams and videos that I wanted to make. But also, I have, like, no experience at all. And, like, that's obvious, right? If I haven't done it before, then I'm not going to have experience in it. Until I actually go and, like, try it, that's, like, when I'm going to improve. So I didn't want to, like... If there's a game that I really love, that I have, like, a really interesting idea for, that I want to make into a video or a stream, then I don't want to do it right now, because it's not going to be very good. And also, I don't have too many viewers. So it's like, why I put all this effort into something that's not going to be as good as I could make it if I were to do it with more experience in the future, and that not many people are even going to see in the first place, you know. So I'm like kind of saving up a bunch of ideas that I'll do eventually when I have more experience. So I thought maybe, you know, maybe I should play a game that is like interesting, but I don't care too much about, like Ministry. And I could maybe try making videos about Ministry as like just practice, you know. Hello, welcome to the stream. But also the streams, like, I did 6 streams of Ministry, and each one was about 3 hours long. So that's a lot of video to watch through and edit. Granted, a lot of it is waiting. There was kind of a lot of waiting around in that game. I don't know why I did like that. I guess it worked, sort of. The Ministry streams actually had more viewers on Twitch than on YouTube. And it was mostly people who were new to the stream, but who were not new to the game. They were like in the Ministry community, I assume, because a lot of them had a lot of experience with the game. And if you check how many people are streaming Ministry on Twitch, it's like not many. Maybe like one person streaming the game at most. But I imagine that there's just like, you know, the people in the community notice that someone is actually streaming their game. And so like, all right, better check it out, you know. I can imagine if there's a game that you really like, but there's like just not many people know about it, and like nobody makes videos about it or nobody makes streams about it, and then you find on Twitch like one person playing this game, like of course you're gonna want to see what they're doing, you know, because like if nobody else plays that game, and it's quite a rare occurrence. It's some cash. I mean, I'm not a complete casual with Ministry. I have played that game for a very long time. It's not really to like any competitive in any competitive way. Which I guess does mean that I'm a casual. Yeah, I guess that is the definition. Yeah, it's pretty low stakes. I do think maybe that's part of the appeal of some of the speedrunning streams that I've done that are particularly difficult, where it's like you're kind of watching to see if is this going to be the run, you know? I think it's kind of similar to Geometry Dash streams, if anyone is familiar with how those go. But if like a top player is trying to beat an extremely difficult level, then it's like kind of interesting to watch, because it's like maybe they're dying a lot and retrying a whole lot and it's kind of boring, but maybe, just maybe, this will be the attempt and you'll get to see it live, you know, the attempt where they finally beat this level that is like extremely difficult that maybe no one else has done before. I mean, Ministry has rain and water. It is also kind of a... I mean, that's a weird thing to say. It is not a dry game. Except for solid flats. Which sucks anyways, but maybe there's a correlation there. And Rainworld is actually pretty dry. Like, there's no water here except for Rivulet themselves, and I guess the steam. Kind of a lot of water, but I'm not swimming all the time. Good luck. Nice one. Shoot, what do I do? What do I do in that spot? What? Like, hello? Can you grab the pole? I just threw away that cycle. I was holding up and I just did not grab the pole. I don't know why. You can try to do a boost there. Nice. There is the timing there. Undergross music. This poor neuron getting drowned. There was this, okay, there's this like science thing that I saw some time ago. I don't even know where it was from, but it's very interesting. The idea is that some like scientists were trying to model was it a human neuron? Some neuron. They were trying to model it with artificial intelligence. Because the way that AI works, or neural networks specifically, it's kind of based around the idea of how neurons might work. They have like these different neurons, right? And they have different connections and like weights. So like one neuron like sends a signal to another neuron, which then processes that signal and sends it to other neurons, and And I guess the idea was that they were trying to replicate the behavior of a single like live neuron. Oh, great. With a neural network. Because a single neuron in a neural network, can you pick up the cell, dude? A single neuron in a neural network is very simple because it has like an inputs from other neurons, right? And then some calculation that it does to that signal, and then it sends that signal to other neurons. But then I think the way that it turned out is that they actually needed like a ton, like a very large neural network just to replicate the behavior of a single real neuron. It just kind of goes to show that the actual I guess human brains or animal brains in general, but actual brains are so much more complex than artificial intelligence, considering that the behavior of a single neuron takes a sizable neural network to replicate. Just like 5 pebbles. Doesn't this song play in Nighttime Metropolis? Because Metropolis does have train tunnels, but that's not where this song plays. It just plays anywhere in Metropolis. But also, I don't think it would fit very well in that area because it's very dark and there's Mirror's birds, so there probably shouldn't be any music at all. Near the tallest tower? That's like the opposite of train tunnels then. All the way up there. Oh, right. It is actually not a downpour song. I think you can just make this jump across the gap without any... I guess we're still doing expeditions. With this music. I do wonder if that is actually faster than climbing on the vine. Like, maybe it's actually faster to go down there and just do a wall bounce. And it's really funny, too, because it's kind of a fake out if you don't know what the run is like. Like, oh shoot, he's falling, and then no, I'm alright. You can make it back pretty easily, actually. That is not the actual strat, though. You try to just grab onto the vine and then just climb and then jump across from there. But it doesn't really lose that much time if you fall down there. Because if you do that wall pounce. I think you might be able to save it even if you don't have the cell on, too. By wall pouncing back and forth. Nice backflip, dude. Now, I was just wondering if perhaps jumping down there was actually faster than the vine strat. Okay. Oh, wow. Nice. Good job. I don't know how to not take full damage here, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's just kind of random. It seems random. Oh, that was dangerous. I think there was a time when I was overconfident with speedrunning. Maybe like a few months ago. I had a lot of world records. I mean, I still have a bunch of them, but I was getting a lot of world records too. Because pretty much any category that I looked into and I spent any amount of time in, I could get a world record there. Oops. Like Gourmand was pretty easy because like no one else had done the run. Like, let me go get the Gourmand world record real quick. Let me go get the Artificer. Like that one too was like, wow, all these people who have attempted this run before, and I'm the first one to get a sub 20 time. You know. Same with Rivulet. I got the world record for that, kind of easily too. And then for Saint, I did have the world record for a while, but not consistently. But I do have it again now. It's like, oh wow, this game is like, I can just kind of get world records by like putting a little bit of time into any category I want. And then I tried that with Spearmaster, and you know how that goes. You know how that went. And I kind of had this plan of like, I'm just gonna run through all the categories and just get all the world records. You know, this is gonna be a fun time. I'll have a lot of ideas for streams. I'll speedrun Saints and Speedmaster and Monk and Hunter, maybe. I mean, I think I was too confident with that. And that the only reason I got the world records in the first place was just because there was not much competition. So the moment I actually tried some difficult runs, I struggled, like, the amount that you should struggle. I've done pebbled percents mostly, and I guess I've recently done any percents too. Those two runs are very difficult, and the runners who do those categories are still way better at the game than I am. I guess I've tried Hunter Story a little bit too. Where do I see myself in 1 year? Probably not anywhere different. I mean, pretty much nothing has changed in the past year since I started streaming, other than that there's like more viewers now. And maybe I'm better at the game too. I probably don't want to do Rain World forever. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. But, you know, I streamed Ministry for a while and that didn't get any views, so that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. If I try to like spread out and do more varied games. Unless I like put a lot of effort into like streams or videos of other things too. I mean, I guess the Lethal Company streamed it all right. So maybe I just need to play the popular games. I mean, Ministry is like almost more niche than Rain World. It probably is. I don't know why I activated the cell. Helldivers. That game doesn't really seem that interesting. It's also 3D. I think it's 3D. And anytime I see a 3D game, I'm immediately less interested in it. I'm sorry. No jump. Oops, I went the wrong way. Whatever. You guys know this game called Archvale? Just curious. No. No? Okay, that's the expected answer. If you're a real fan, you would know that I streamed that game like 2 years ago. Or maybe 3 years ago. I think it was the first game that I streamed. No, Archvale. I was playing that game again recently, and I realized that it has a lot of problems. I feel like I'd have to make like I have like a full video's worth of stuff to say about that game from my experience with it. These jetfish, please. But I think it helped me realize how important like a game's theme is. Just don't. Because Archvale doesn't really have a very strong identity, I don't think. Can you please let go? The way these tentacles work is very strange. The way they like push you around. But the game's I'm gonna have a very just like short overview of what the game is kind of about. Do I even have the cell? I do. But the theme is very generic fantasy RPG. There's slimes, there's wizards, there's skeletons, you know. There's all that stuff, you know. And that's kind of it, you know. There's different biomes, and the biomes are like a forest, a desert, a cave with crabs in it, a cold forest. You know, the areas are kind of generic. And like I think like the gameplay is okay. There's like pretty good things about the game. The polish is like pretty high overall, but the theme is like just kind of lame. Like it's just not that interesting. Like the story and stuff is like whatever, you know. It's just like mostly just there to like give you a goal for what you're supposed to like, for why you're doing this, why you're playing this game, you know. The overarching goal of the game is kind of what the story is for, and that's it, you know. And which is like the complete opposite of Rainworld, because everything about Rainworld is incredibly unique. Like you can't even like categorize the theme of Rainworld other than maybe like post-apocalyptic. But not like the post-apocalyptic where it's like you are in like a group of people trying to survive, kind of rebuild society. It's not that kind of story. It's you are a wild animal that is in a ecosystem that is building on top of a long gone civilization, you know. What are you guys even talking about? Sometimes I feel like why am I talking about this stuff on stream? Like so much stuff in Rainworld has like incredible. I mean, even like the basic animals are unique. Like lizards are not lizards. They are a completely different creature, but they're kind of similar to lizards, so that's what we call them. There's creatures that we call snails, but they're not snails at all. There's vultures, but they're not vultures at all. Like all the creatures, even that have names similar to real creatures, are completely different than how they are in real life. The stream raiders, that's not very nice. Yeah, the creatures technically don't have official names. A lot of them were just kind of things that we came up with as a community. Hello. Welcome to the stream. And I like that. Whenever you see someone play Rain World for the first time, they often come up with a bunch of names for stuff that are completely unique, that they make up on their own, you know? Cavs demons. Everything has different names in the code too. I mean, that's usually the case in a lot of games, even if the content has like official names. Because, you know, whatever you call it when you're developing the game is probably different than the name that you eventually decide to call it in the end. Maybe I should do real attempts. I'll give it a try. And also, I want to try this. Turning that off. This one and this one. I've heard that some people are not a fan of the no randomized cycle duration being enabled for this run, because it's not allowed in any other category, but just for Rivulet. It's like, well, you might as well make the exception for all of them. You should be like, you know, if we don't like that it's random, you know, you should just enable it for all the speedrun categories too. It's like, okay, maybe you can do this without the setting enabled. Do I have all the right settings? Just checking for one last time. You're going to waterfront sometimes. I have not been to waterfront facility in a long time. I think speedrun timer. Yes, this one too. Concerned about another campaign? In what ways? Waterfront is easily one of the best regions. I mean, it's a cool region, but I don't ever want to go there. Because you can only go there as Spearmaster and Artificer. And if you're Artificer, you only need to go to Pebbles, and that's it. Or to the Echoes. And you can't even access Moon, so like, what's the point? For Spearmaster, you could just go through Precipice. And I know that Precipice is not the best region to go through. It's not the easiest, you know. Neither is Garbage Waste and Shoreline. And all the other regions that you have to go through to get to Moon the alternate way. Okay. These are actual attempts now. I don't have splits enabled. I'll turn on splits next attempt. Yes, there's actually a scavenger here now. I'm very interested in the idea of a character's campaign that revolves around being friends with the scavengers instead of being against them, which is how it is as every other character. Because before Downpour came out, I always defaulted to being friends with the scavengers. And now, I mean, I guess it's mostly because I'm speedrunning too, you know. In a normal playthrough, you can just, like, befriend them over time. I guess that's kind of the goal, but in a speedrun, you just don't have time for that, and you kind of set the default to killing them. But also, that was, really old, wasn't it? Was that a recent thing? I think that when they talked about a potential new campaign, that was, like, a really old idea. And so there's only a chance that that will be what a new campaign is. Is Expedition basically a roguelike? Is it? Not really. There's no permadeath. Is permadeath an important part of roguelikes? I guess, okay, roguelites. Is that a difference? I don't think it qualifies. I think of it as more of a specific kind of thing. Okay, so you're referring to the kind of game where there's meta progression, where between each run you can make improvements to your character. Which is what I call a roguelite, where a roguelike has no meta progression at all. Thank you. I don't have enough food. I need to get a batfly later. Oops. Ah. There's gonna be creatures now. It's a cyan lizard and a white lizard in the next few rooms. White lizard's still here. Exactly the spot that I wanted to go to. It's fine. And the spider was exactly in the spot that I wanted to go to. This is going great. The creature rando expedition? I'm good. I might do more expeditions though. It's just the enemy randomizer part I'm not really interested in. Good job. Very fast, Lizard. Okay, I'm gonna get the splits up. Although I do want to edit them. Room rando. Room rando is just kind of chaos. Like you don't even really... You're just kind of wandering around randomly and hoping that it works out. Right, there's the splits. Mark that as a burden? What does that do? Takes the scale out of traversal. I mean, I think that there can be interesting situations in a randomizer where you need to use like movement tech to navigate. But yeah, a lot of the skill of navigation is like knowing the room layouts and where to go, and like fast ways to navigate each room. And when the layout of them is all randomized, it's like, well, good luck just kind of wandering around until you get lucky. Oh. I'm still not very good at this first part. It's like the Hollow Knight, but the Grim spikes are constantly attacking you. What is he called? What's his full name? I know there's Nightmare King Grim, I think. Nightmare King something. Who's like the pre-evolution of that? Also, the perks in Expedition mode, I'm not a huge fan of. Because they just kind of make your character very powerful. You can basically make any Slugcat you want into an overpowered combination of Rivulet and Artificer. And movement is like completely trivial. It also means that you never want to play Rivulets because they just don't have... Like, why play Rivulet when you could play another character and then just have the high agility perk on top of that, you know? Calm down, dude. Man, you'd think that I know how to play this game after this much time. Damn, I'm already in the red. Why does it say that? Oh, that's why. Wait, it just doesn't show me the splits. That's funny. Okay, well I guess I'll leave it like this. As long as I can remember where to split actually. Man, I suck at that. Not doing great. Yeah, Gourmand is pretty funny with any extra mobility options at all. And they can be like quite a powerful character. I think I have realized recently that Gourmand is actually a strong character. It's just that it's compared to like a low skill, like how do I put this? Gourmand is strong, but they have a lower skill ceiling than most other characters. So if you're like okay at the game, if you're decent, the Gourmand can actually be like a strong character for you. But you won't be able to push Gourmand any further because of the stamina. Like the more you try, the more you're penalized. Whereas for other characters, you can kind of just keep improving, and there's like always more that you can do. Thank you. But just compare Gourmand and Artificer, and there's a huge difference. There's a massive difference. Even like oh yeah, Gourmand can like land on a vulture from high up and insta kill it, while Artie can make an explosive spear and also insta kill a vulture. So, you know, not that interesting mobility. Whoops, that was a stupid mistake. What, Gourmand spears do 3 times the damage? Well, Hunter can hold 2 spears and throw them very quickly to deal like even more DPS overall. Down spearing from bomb jumps to pick off scavs, yes. That's a pretty good strategy, although it can be a little bit difficult to actually hit the scavengers because you don't know if they're going to move around. Slow down, man. Yeah, alright. Hold up, can I change this? Um. Okay. Well, I don't really know how to do that. Wait. Okay. Uh. Yeah, fast bow climbs are kind of just impossible on controller. Excuse me? You just want to go backwards for no reason? That was very slow. That was also slow. Ah. Wonder if there's any interesting slug hack concepts out there that don't rely on some sort of extra ability. Because Survivor has no interesting ability. They are like the default slug cat, right? And then all of the extra characters have some sort of ability that sets them apart from Survivor. Even Monk technically is very similar and has nothing interesting. They kind of have like a stealth ability, like so many creatures just ignore them, right? You can just kind of like sneak past so many creatures. You can also survive bites with no random chance involved. And Hunter is also very simple, but they pretty much just have slightly higher stats and they can hold another spear. But even that's a pretty significant ability. And so every downpour slugcat and most modded slugcats have some sort of core ability, like they can fly or they can, you know, create explosives or they can, you know, eat a lot of food. I wonder if there's any room to, like, could a mod exist that doesn't rely on, well, okay, there's modded regions, right? But could you make a campaign, like new character, new campaign, whatever, but without actually making the slugcat that much stronger? Or no, by not really giving them like some sort of like ability that is like unnatural. Something that might actually feel like an actual adaptation for a slugcat in like a different environment. Because I can't really see any of these slugcats making sense from just like from like evolution, you know. Like maybe you can understand that Rivulet evolves to be like more aquatic, you know. Okay, that makes sense. But why can they backflip like 3 times as high? Doesn't really make sense. Sure, maybe they can be a little. Maybe they've like evolved to be a little bit more agile to escape the rain, you know, so on and so forth. But like the degree that which they've improved their mobility is like way too high. But I don't really know what that would be. Yes. Expected outcome. You actually get it back. You could do a backflip right there the moment you fall down as like a backup strat. That's just bad. You know what? Have you noticed a difference the moment I started doing real attempts? Have you noticed that something has changed? Poacher, is that the slug pup with like a helmet? Didn't they change the friend a lot? Like they used to have a really high jump and they don't anymore? I've got that wrong. I feel like the jump was like the unique part of that slug cat, and now that's gone, so it's like not really interesting. Actually, you know, I think that the answer to this question is scavengers. A slug cat that is friends with the scavengers who learns how to craft things. Very, very basic things like explosive spears or, I don't know, different types of spears, because you're basically just wrapping something around a stick. That level of crafting isn't as absurd as what Gourmand can do, and it synergizes with the environments by working with the scavengers and what they can do, while not actually giving the slug cat themselves any like crazy abilities. That actually makes a lot of sense why that's what the developers were thinking of when trying to come up with a new like campaign. Actual scav campaign. I mean, you'd have to really rework the way that the scavengers work, because they can't jump. That's the main one. They can't jump, so that's a lot of areas that are cut off. They can't. Can they swim very well? I don't think so. I don't know if a scavenger could make their way through drainage system. At least scavengers, true, but it's a very like, it's like a leap, you know. it's a very big jump, not just like the basic kind of platforming jumps that Slugcats can do. Very middle. I mean, there's scavengers right here in drainage system, right? But they don't go through like the bottom area. I cannot do that jump. Every attempt has failed it so far. Chaos. Okay. They try their hardest. There's a creature up here. There's another creature up here. Well, this is going. I'd say this is going right now. Oh. I'm alive. This is going to be very loud for a little bit. Well, okay. Just tried to grab onto them and it didn't work. I probably could have just run through that room like normal and it might have worked out. That was really bad. Why is that one jump so difficult? And if you want to unlock if you want to do the Easter egg in expedition mode, you could watch my stream. See what I did there. I did do that. Favorite burden? I don't know. I guess Pursued. I don't actually really like any of them. I like Pursued conceptually, but in practice, I think it could be a lot better. Because you end up not even seeing the pursuer for like or like most of the game. You just don't even see them. And every once in a while, like, oh, you're being pursued, and then that's it, you know. But I like those moments where it's like, you're being pursued, you see the message at the bottom, and then you have to like run away from this creature, you know. But sometimes it's just like kind of super easy to just ignore. Hunted is just way too chaotic and laggy, yeah. All of the creatures just piling up in one room, it's just kind of a pain to deal with. Blinded doesn't really do much, and I mean, some of the dark areas look pretty cool. I don't know, it just doesn't really do too much. And then Doomed is just like, it's just like don't die. I don't know, it doesn't really change anything. Makes speedruns faster, I guess. So it's probably Pursued, Blinded, then Hunted and Doomed. Or maybe switch Doomed and Hunted around, but I don't know. Doomed, I don't really have any feeling about. What? Certain use a light bulb. Can you actually see with the lizards? That's a funny idea. I guess there's not really many lizards in Shaded, so that's not really useful there. I have a pearl now. The scavengers won't hurt me now. I've not had much success with that jump, even though it saves like a quarter of a second or something like that. It's probably just lost me more time. Oh boy. What was I doing? Just eating some fruit. And he can't do that. Climbing a lizard around 5 pebbles. I'm sure he's happy about that. Oh yeah, don't mind the lizard. He's just a support animal. Getting through airport security with my support lizard. Unrideable lizards, I don't know, I don't think it's very necessary. A lot of mods are just, you know, oh, that's cool, and then that's it. you know. You should tame a red lizard then. Well, technically, red should be able to jump very far. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but sometimes when you get really close to a red lizard, they'll jump after you. And they can jump very far. I think what happens is that if you're just close enough to them and they want to bite you, they just have some sort of force that propels them forward, even if they're not touching the ground. Yeah, they're a magnet. Oops. Oh, great. Didn't fall down. I love spending 3 minutes karma caching and only for that to happen. I think that is exactly the problem with rideable lizards. Lizards aren't supposed to be useful to you. They're a predator. And sure, taming like is a mechanic, but it pretty much just makes them passive. And they end up actually being like really annoying and hard to manage. And maybe that's what the mod is supposed to fix, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is a creature that you can control, but I don't think you should be able to control them. They're just a wild creature. They're just have learned that they'll get more food by not killing you compared to just by killing you for food, you know? It's not like they have any other obligation to like help you out or to let you control them and ride them around and like help you hunt and stuff. They're still just a wild animal. Yeah, humans domesticated animals over like thousands of years. Just like meeting a lizard and giving them food like 3 times isn't going to get you to that level. Is it a weird thing to not really like companions in video games? Any situation where you have like party members or like a summon or I don't know, some sort of ally like that, you know, fights alongside you. I always feel like they're just like more annoying than helpful. Okay, I guess I'm actually moving forward now. Ah. Okay, it's cool that you like the mod. I'm not gonna get it, just like every single other mod. I'm not. I mean, like a handful of content mods I'm interested in, and maybe I'll do a stream about them. But something like that, I'm probably not going to. I think they're interesting because they can potentially add new content, new characters, new regions, maybe. Although I haven't even played any new regions yet, any modded regions. But some of that just like changes around base game mechanics. I'm probably not going to do anything with those. And generally, that's how I feel about a lot of mods in a lot of games. If I like the game, it's probably because I like the game, and I don't want mods to change around mechanics that I already like in the base game. And I'm fine with mods that add entirely new things that are hopefully still somewhat in the style of the original game. I want to get at least one more attempt to the wall. The only way that I can imagine teaching slug posts could work is by maybe having stats. So, you know the way that like scavenger stats work, like they have like, I don't know, like courage or like aggressiveness or whatever, you know, I don't know what the names of the stats are, but they just control things like how likely a scavenger is to attack you, how quickly they will attack you, how good they are at parrying spears, or if like other members of their like pack will follow them. So slug pups would have those like a bunch of different stats, and then depending on what you do and what you basically try to teach them is they would change their stats. So maybe they'd be like very scared of stuff, but then if you kill a bunch of creatures in front of them, then they'll get more like courageous, more willing to like try to attack things, you know. I don't know what else you would train them other than just combat. I guess like collecting food, like hunting. And so like from the beginning, they would just kind of sit back and let you collect the food for them. But then maybe the more you do it, the more they're willing to climb and try to grab it themselves, or to like try to go after bat flies. I have no idea how that kind of system would work for like movements though. Maybe you could just change how willing they are to move around. Like, you know that like white lizards don't like to move around too much. So if a white lizard sees you, they're probably not going to chase after you for that long. But then like if a pink lizard sees you, they're going to chase you down, right? So a slip up could work the same way, where at first they're very hesitant to try to move around on their own. They're kind of like scared of exploring on their own. And so if you leave them alone, they're just gonna kind of sit still, maybe wander around a little bit, but mostly just try to stay safe. But then eventually they will learn to try to keep up with you better and actually follow you around, or like explore on their own if you leave them. Although that would probably be annoying. You probably want them to stay still if you leave them behind. I don't know. If you teach them movement tech, so if you're a speedrunner and you have a select pup, they will eventually learn how to speedrun with you. That's a funny idea, but that sounds impossible to implement. Definitely not possible, but much more complicated. So actually do like movement tech that would actually help them in the right situation. Like I don't even think select pups can do a regular charge pounce. I think they just run around and jump, and that's it. And like climb poles. Nope. Oh, so whatever movement that you do to get somewhere, they will try to replicate it and do the same thing. So we'd like record your inputs. That's funny. Also sounds very complicated, especially since they have different movement stats. Hello, welcome to the stream. Imagine Shadow Mario, but like a Shadow Slug Cat, or I guess like Battling if you like Celeste instead. So it would just be that could be a mod, a Slug Cat, but they're like cursed and there's like a shadow that follows them behind, that falls behind them at all times. And you need to run away from the shadow. Yeah, battling. Or, oh yeah, that is a different word I can read. That's actually an interesting idea. I don't know if there's been any characters that have more of a downside than an upside. Where the character doesn't have some sort of unique ability, but they have some sort of unique downside. Something that you need to work around more than something that helps you. Please don't do it again. I mean, most of the characters do have some sort of downside, but usually I feel like it's more annoying. Actually, that's a very hard thing to balance, to make it something that makes the game more challenging, but not something that makes it just more annoying. So that's pretty easy to do. Like you can make a slug cat, but they're permanently starving. Okay, actually that's just gourmand, but you know. Yeah, it makes the game more difficult, but it's just like it's just annoying, like that you're like falling over all the time, and that you can't do basic actions. Gourmand hater detected. I'm open about it. I don't like Gourmand. Yeah, and their slide is like so long, you always like bump into stuff and stun yourself and give yourself brain damage. And if you want to slide past a creature, you end up just bonking into them instead. So it's really hard to like get past things quickly. I think something like the Rivulet's Rain is a more interesting downside because it doesn't really hurt you in the moments. And at any given moment, you're not like weaker because of this. But it requires that you play the game in a different way, that you basically hop from shelter to shelter as fast as possible instead of just wandering around doing whatever you want. I do agree. Rivulet or Gourmand does require skill. Metropolis. I think I'm gonna start the challenges on Tuesday next week. I don't really feel like doing Saint or Speedermaster immediately. Speedrunner dislikes slow character. Speedrunning Gourmand actually isn't so awful. Sometimes it is fun to like roll everywhere and do slides and such. It's actually mostly creatures that are the problem. Really? You were like halfway done with climbing up. I don't know. I don't need to say anything more about Gourmand. Oh, this isn't bad scavenger RNG. This is expected. Like, this is pretty normal to see scavengers this much. I actually do agree with that, with the Rivulet. The moment you get the refraction cell, you become faster and the rain goes away. So it's like, they are overpowered at that point. And I agree that they are kind of just overtuned in general. But I like that it makes... Like, yeah, the Rivulet is difficult. Or, the Rivulet is really easy. Right, it makes the game easier. But I wouldn't say that the speedrun is easy. Right? I would say that the speedrun, or getting the world record at the speedrun, is actually extremely difficult. Even though Rivulet is still an easy character. Oh, he got a spider. Good job, dude. Give an example of an easy speedrun. How about... I'm very bad at this game. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. I haven't come up with an answer yet. But I mean, if there's two games, well, okay, Rain World can be one of those games. But if you compare Rain World to a game with movement where the fastest you can move is holding to the right, you know, that I'd say that game is probably easier to speedrun. Because if you want to move as fast as possible, you just hold down one direction and you are moving as fast as possible. And speedrunning at that point isn't about trying to be faster, it's about not slowing down ever. And that doesn't mean that it's easy. There are plenty of games with that kind of movements that are still extremely difficult, like Mario. The original Super Mario has like a max running speed that you can't go any faster than. But it's still like extremely difficult, you know, because there's a lot of things that you need to do to not slow down. And as well as like a bunch of glitches and stuff. But, you know, just comparing Rain World to a lot of other games, just to move as fast as possible, you should pretty much constantly be doing slides at the minimum. But even more than that, extended slides or EI hops, which are like a frame perfect input. So if you want to move as fast as possible in Rain World, you need to be doing frame perfect inputs all the time. Now, of course, you could just not do that, and you will still be going pretty fast if you do other movements that isn't frame perfect, but, you know. It means that the skill ceiling is much higher, because there's always that potential of being way faster if you take advantage of that extremely difficult tech. I would say that, Celeste is actually quite an easy game to speedrun. Which, maybe that's a crazy thing to say, but I don't mean, like, the high-level runs. Obviously, those have... Celeste has an incredibly high skill ceiling. But I mean, if you beat the game, and you're like, I want to speedrun this game, you know, it's pretty easy to just get into it, you know. You could just go try a speedrun, and you'll probably, like, do alright, you know. There's, very little penalty for dying, because you just respawn instantly, and you only lose, like, a few seconds at most. Well, I mean, in, like, a really long room, if you die at the very end, you can lose, like, a minute, but most rooms, if you die, you lose, like, a few seconds, and you just retry immediately. But Celeste is the kind of game that wants you to speedrun it. Yeah, Rain World does not. Rain World is the opposite. I mean, I don't think that a speedrun has to be deathless for it to be a proper speedrun. I mean, even like really good runs probably have a few deaths every once in a while, you know. They're not like perfect. There are probably some decent, or maybe a lot of deathless runs. I'm not entirely sure. See, that's the skill ceiling, you know. The more that you want to improve the run, the more difficult it gets to an insane degree. But it is more accessible. Yeah, demo dash. Like a pixel perfect move. Deaths do mess up cycles. That's something that's really annoying. And cycles in general are really annoying, actually, in speedruns. That's always the case. But yeah, if you enter a room, you might have a strategy for what you're supposed to do to get through that room quickly. But if you die, then you need to do a different strategy to do it quickly. Dude. Dude. Snails too don't help at all in there. Honestly, snails are like half the problem. Scavengers are not massive. They are annoying, but you know, you can run past them sometimes. But if you just try to do a Reynolds speedrun, there's a decent chance you won't even be able to complete the run at all. Unless you slow down a lot. So you might just spend a lot of time just dying to creatures and you lose a lot of time per death. You know? Or like a roguelike would be another example of a game that's very difficult to speedrun. Because just beating the game at all can be extremely challenging because you have to not die the entire time. Oh, annihilated. You know what's interesting? I actually only recently learned that Spearmaster can craft. Which I guess is obvious. Or is it? Because Spearmaster does not have a mouth, and it seems like they use their mouth to craft things. Or at least Gourmand does. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they just smash the items together and they just fuse into something else. But I guess it'd be strange just to prevent Spearmaster from crafting when every single other character can with a perk. So yes, Spearmaster can craft with the perk in Expedition mode, not just normally. They do not have any crafting abilities. Unless you count creating spears as crafting. Joe. Wow, no scavengers? I think I have turn scourge. Already can't use the craft perk? They can't? Does the explosive crafting override it? Does it always spawn if you die? I think that's a monk mechanic. If you have the Karma Flower perk enabled, does it always spawn when you die? Because I thought it only gave you one Karma Flower, and if you lost it, you just didn't have it for the rest of the game. For the rest of the expedition. It does always spawn? That's interesting. So you can make use of it for crafting a whole lot. That's cool. Really? They're not angry, they're just hungry. Yeah, I do agree that it's good. Even like, I thought that it would disappear, but if you just like are able to maintain it, you know, that's not a problem. Just whenever you die, just go pick up the karma flower. You know, even if the gates didn't pause the rain timer, you could still make it. Because if the rain actually starts, then the rain timer will continue even... Well, it's not the rain timer anymore, it's just the rain. The rain will continue to progress even when you're in a gate. As long as it can actually get started. But you can still make it to the shelter in that case. I should have just let him pull me back. Why are you reaching up here? So of course when I do this room in practice, I do it perfectly, but then the moment I do it in a real run, I mess that up every single time. Only natural. So I'm hesitant to do that movement, but then I did it perfectly in practice, and I was like, well, I guess I can do it now. I guess I am consistent at it. There's always a rock right here that just like you have to pick up instead of the slime mold. I did the wrong movements in this room. Welcome to the stream. This is the first good run in like an hour of attempts. And it's still probably bad. I don't know. I don't have very accurate splits right now. The splits are still there. I just have them only. I have it set to only display the final time and not actually show the splits themselves. Haha. I don't have to do this room in zero gravity. I'll never have to learn. I think those are just perfect cycles. Like every single time I wanted a certain gravity, I got it. Well, alright. You can laugh at this now. Oh, turning off gravity in all rooms? That sounds like a lot of fun. I really want to do that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I could have done the pounce sooner. Love when that happens. It actually works that time. Maybe you have to land on like the very edge of that. Kind of like when you're in the depths. And you try to avoid fall damage from that one big drop, so you kind of land on that corner. Okay, that might have actually been too big of a time lot, or just waiting there. Okay, that definitely was. Yeah, unfortunate. I like that lizard locations though. Boing. Let me not die to that rot. Okay, well, that's a new one. I think I stunned myself. I dropped the cell for some reason. Well, okay. Thought that maybe I could get a wall pounce in there just by sliding through. I know you can just slide underneath the lizard, but I guess that just didn't work. Or maybe I messed up the timing, or maybe that's a stupid idea overall. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the stream. I don't know if I will do more attempts of this. I might just, well, I'll be doing a lot of different things. I'll see. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. See ya.